Peace and black power. Got this 55 on today. It's Memorial Sunday in memory of my ancestor Nat Turner. Peace and blessings be upon him. The struggle that he engaged in an attempt to free our people from the oppressive grip of European colonial slave masters. Note that I'm using European colonial slave masters intentionally because I want it known and understood clearly that these European colonial slave masters weren't just in America. They were in Jamaica. They were in Cuba. They were on the continent of Africa. They established countries like Nigeria and Niger and Liberia and others, South Africa, Tanganyika, which became Tanzania when it joined with Zanzibar in 1964 after the rebellion that took place there where they killed 20,000 Arabs on the island of Unguja or Zanzibar, right? We need to understand this because there's a lot of disinformation going around about our people. I'm so sick and tired of encountering videos where I come across people that are 9 shades darker than me, and I'm specifically referring to a video that I saw about an hour ago, posted by a chick under the name TASHAMCKABLE'S. Claims that she's not African American. The name of the video is I'm Not African American, Being Black in the USA. She claims that she's Jamaican. If you could believe that stupid shit. She claims she's Jamaican and that she has Cuban ancestry, and that the reason she's not one of us, quote people, is that we're just black. Just black. Okay? Now she's black, but we're just black. Meaning that she's Jamaican or she's Cuban or Latina, right? She's fucking confused, right? And from this confused state of mind, a bunch of our problems ensue. First of all, your ignorant ass is not Latina. That has to do with language. You don't speak Spanish, and even if you do, you learned how to speak Spanish. The fact that your father, your grandfather, were held as slaves in Cuba doesn't make you Latina. That makes you a victim of the Spanish slave traders and pirates, just like my ancestors were victims of English slave traders and pirates. Just like the majority of the people in Jamaica were victims of English slave traders and pirates. To say that we're just black because we don't know if we're Igbo or Yoruba, first of all, you don't know if you Igbo or Yoruba, because being from Jamaica don't make you no damn Igbo or Yoruba. Makes you a hostage, a slave plantation where your life was only worth about 3 bags of fucking sugar. You understand? This is the shit that they took those people through on the island of Jamaica. They would work them to death, picking fucking sugar cane in the hot ass sun. That's not what they wanted to do. They didn't want to pick no fucking sugar cane to make no rum, to sell to no Europeans and to trade for no other Africans or so-called Africans, because point of fact, there is no such thing as an African. Let me say that slowly for those of you who have a problem understanding what Brother Larry is saying. There is no such thing as an African. That is the way Europeans look at the people who they encounter on the continent of Africa. Because Europeans name that continent Africa, they call the people on that continent Africans. Just like the Europeans call the people on the subcontinent of India Indians. The people don't call themselves Indians on that subcontinent. They are Hindus. That's where the confusion comes in at. term Indian comes from Hindu. Their language, Hindi, is where you get Indi from. You have Sikhs, you have Dravids, you have Pakis, you have other people there, Bengalis, but you don't have any Indians. There are no Indians. Even here in the Americas, there were no Indians. You had a confused European, and from his confusion, he thought that he was in the West Indies, so they call the people West Indian. There's no such thing as a West Indian. That is confusion. And from this confused state of mind, from this confused consciousness, you bring about a state of confusion amongst the people, and you are contributing to the confusion amongst the people with your bullshit. TASHAMCKABLE, I'm here to help you, so don't fear. Brother Larry to the rescue. I'm gonna make you understand, and the only way that you won't understand is if that you refuse to understand. Because this is clear and precise information that I'm providing to you this morning, Memorial Sunday, coming at you live with this real fucking talk. Now, point of fact, you are here in America amongst my people, but you have a problem identifying with my people because you think my people are just black. And you're not just black. You have a culture. But the fact that you can clearly identify that my people are different from what you think is your people is because my culture is different from your culture. The thing that makes us stand out and apart and be able to be recognized as different is the damn culture. Culture is the language you speak, the mode of dress you employ, the belief system that you have, as well as the way you walk is all a part of your culture. You will note that a lot of Jamaicans, they walk like they on the beach because they come from an island, a lot of sand and shit, right? So now, when you see individuals who walk around barefooted on sand, when they walk on land, they walk a little different. Now we come from a concrete fucking jungle, so we walk like we on a concrete jungle. The walk is more solid, the gait is more controlled, it is more contrived actually. You understand? These are cultural elements. When you look at our music, when you look at the music from Jamaica or the music from Cuba, our music influences the music around the world. It influenced the music in Jamaica, and it also influenced the music in Cuba, which is why you have Afro-Cuban. The Afro part of that would be us. Would be Dizzy Gillespie over there, or would be those brothers over there like Arturo Sandoval, looking at the music that we're making here and then putting their own little slant on it and creating their own style of our music. You understand? Now, what I need you to really grasp, what I need you to really comprehend, what I need you to really allow to sink into your mind is that we're all victims of the same crime. We are all victims of the same crime. Now, you don't know any better than I know which criminal victimized your ancestors, because the criminals traded amongst themselves. They transported our ancestors to various locations. A lot of the black people who wound up in America actually came from Jamaica, because that was one of the first places that those ships docked and offloaded, and then they did business with other trading colonies. You understand? If you really want to sound intelligent on this subject, the last thing that you would do would be to differentiate our people based on where we are today. When you look back over the centuries, you will find that Jamaica had blacks from all over Africa and Irish people from the British Isles were transported there under a British Prime Minister by the name of Oliver Cromwell, who transported Irish people there to be slaves, which is why some Jamaicans or some people on the island of Jamaica sound Irish when you really listen to them, because they're mixed with Irish people. That's why some of them have red beards and freckles on their face, because they mix with those Irish people. Now you, Tasha, you're not mixed with an Irish person. Too black for that. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. You should take that as a compliment. It's Brother Larry too black for that. You understand? Now, when you look at the fact that they mixed and transported our ancestors all over the place, remember, to them it was just business. They could care less what tribal affiliation you had back on the continent of Africa. The thing that they tried to do was keep you separate from people that you could communicate with. This is the reason they mixed us up. To keep you separate from people that you could join with in a rebellion. To keep you separate from people who you would sympathize with if you saw them abused. They did not want you doing that. Which is why when you look at the history of the island of Jamaica, and you see that when too many individuals from the same region got together, they rebelled and ran up in the mountains. They call them Maroons now. But when you really examine closely the history of the Maroons in Jamaica, you find that at some point after fighting the Europeans for about 40 damn years, they made a peace treaty with those Europeans. And any additional blacks who escaped were turned back. So the Maroons further helped enslave the rest of that island. When you look at the island of Jamaica today, you see chaos and confusion. Just like when you look at mainland Africa today, you see chaos and confusion. You see the blacks oppressing the blacks. You see the Nigerian government killing their citizens. This is the same shit that the Europeans encountered when they first got there. Who the hell you think sold your ancestors? Europeans didn't land in no goddamn boat and just gather up people and transport them off. That's some bullshit. That's not real history. The real history is what you see happening right now today. Right now today. When you see blacks trading other blacks. When you see blacks betraying other blacks on the continent of Africa because they think that stupid shit that you think. That you different. That your culture's different. That you somehow better. You're in the same boat. And I mean that shit. I mean the pun that it intends. We same boat. Slave ship. You still transported around on this shit. You just transported to another location. Now you think you here amongst our people who they term to be African Americans, and you think you're not one? All blacks are the same in the eyes of Europeans. This is why they call us all Africans. We are all the same in the eyes of Europeans. You might find it distasteful. You might find it something that you don't want. You might say, well, I don't want to associate with them. They're not the same as me. I'm a Latina now. You a goddamn fool if you think you a Latina. There's no such thing as a Latina. That's a language. Spanish comes from the Latin language, which is why they call those people Latinos and Latinas, which is why they say things like Hispanic, because they speak Spanish or a derivative of Spanish. Get your mind right. Get your facts correct. And you blocking people from making comments on your video because you don't really want the truth. You want somebody to agree with your nonsense. Brother Larry don't agree. That's why I'm posting this video. And I'm going to post this video up on my Facebook page. I already posted your video on my Facebook page because we are going to tear that shit down so that we can rebuild you in the proper image, in the image of our ancestors. You understand? You're not created in the image of no European God. Get your mind right. Get your facts correct. And when you come at the community, come from a perspective of unity. Peace, Black Power.